Hello and welcome. Good evening to Shalom Radio Romania, and this is your Ran alive from Bucharest, Romania. Welcome to my 127th broadcast from the studio today, and we have a very interesting guest, Mr. Remus Popovici, with us, who is not only an entrepreneur, he's also a business consultant and as well as a co-founder for R&R Partners Bucharest. Remus, welcome to the show.
Hello, Yoran. Thank you for. Hello, Yoran. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's really nice to see you. I remember that a few episodes back or a few broadcasts before, I had the pleasure to spend a few hours in the studio with your wife regarding other interesting topics for immigrants and people as expats that want to live, work, and stay in Romania. So it's really a big pleasure to have you here for a change, and I'm hoping that we will have some very interesting questions coming up.
Indeed, at R&R Partners, we are having the immigration part with business consultancy. So we are like a one-stop shop for foreigners who want to come to Romania and be here, live on a long term. And we also help them with everything that they need here, from residency permits to how to start a business, how to stay long term legally, and so they do not have any problems.
Okay, that's fantastic. So, Ramos, before we really get into the stream of the show, give us a little bit of your background. How did you come to be where you are today? I see that you are with your wife that has started as co-founding R&R Partners. Give us the journey. And while we are listening to you, I'm also going to try to see that we have our viewers tuned in to today's event. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So, I started. Actually, I have an economical background. So in high school, I was learning economy and was preparing for economy. So after that, the normal procedure was to go to the ASE, the Economics
School of
University of Bucharest.
This is the one in
Piazza
Piazza Romano.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
okay.
the one. So I've been there. I started studying, and after the first year, I just realized that okay, many of the things that I learned here, I already went through high school, and I had the option either to wanted something more challenging.
Right.
So the first option was to go to accountancy. I wanted to go at TANAF and help the state, the Romanian state.
Okay.
And afterwards, I saw that in order to get there, you can either go to accountancy or you can go to law school. I was already at the economic schools at the state paid for my tuition, and my parents were willing to pay another tuition for me. So I just went to the law school. I entered to the University of Bucharest Law School,
Okay.
and 2 years I had two universities at the same time. I went to law school and at the economic university in the same time.
So what drove you to be a lawyer rather than an accountant?
Actually, that was after I started the law school. I started seeing what law school offered and what you could do at the law school. So I started from seeing people and seeing how you can help them as from a law perspective, and I found more pleasure, to say so. I find more satisfaction in my work now,
Right.
helping people, giving them the ways, the possibilities to navigate through the law. Because when I go to a public institution, it's not like they do not know the law, either they do not want to help you in order to stick by the law, or they are just evading the subjects, and I don't feel that's fair. And my added value to society, I feel like there's more added value with the thing that I do now than anything else.
Okay. That's fantastic.
And
Please go on. Yes.
and you said about my wife Ruxandra, We met in law school in first year,
Mm-hmm.
and given that I had the double specialty, then I started more on the economical part
Right.
and the immigration part, and she's more on the litigation, the business consultancy and immigration also. But we are a little bit split, and everybody does his best
His
for the
part.
clients. Yeah.
That's really good. And how long now, Remus, would you say is R&R Partners going strong?
We started the business in late 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and the company was incorporated in 2017 at the beginning, and the branding and everything happened in 2016 summer. So
Okay.
it was like a mishmash there, like in the late 2016, 2017, when
Mm-hmm.
we didn't know. But according to the papers and everything, I can state that from January 2017, everything started, and we are going strong from January 2017.
That is really good to hear. I'm really glad to hear that. So today we are talking with Remus on Romanian citizenship, how to obtain it or how to regain it. So Remus, what would be the opening topic that you would like to say about it? First of all, is it easy to get a Romanian citizenship?
Uh, Depends.
Depends from where you are, depends on the time you have been here, I suppose, as
Yeah,
well.
where you're born, who are your parents, depends so much.
Uh-huh.
So Romanian citizenship is there are two types of gaining citizenship. You gain citizenship by the birthplace. For example, if you are born in the United States of America,
Mm-hmm.
you gain the citizenship by birth.
Right.
You are birth there.
By
It's
natural.
Ius loci, it's called. It's citizenship by the place where you are born.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Romania, it's not like that. It's ius sanguini. That means that your citizenship is by blood. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
when you are born, you know then your citizenship by your parents.
Right.
So if you have a parent who is Romanian,
Mm-hmm.
you automatically gain the Romanian citizenship. Now, there are some. We have a citizenship law that's from 1990, I believe, 1991,
Okay.
and you can also acquire the Romanian citizenship. That's why the topic for today it's how to acquire or regain it.
Of course.
Regain it means that you lost it sometime in the past,
Mm-hmm.
or one of your ancestor lost the citizenship.
Right.
Now, how can you lose the citizenship, right?
Right. That's a very good question. I suppose we will be tackling that. So
Yeah.
people that are listening out there, if you have any kind of questions regarding Romanian citizenship, and I know that there are a lot of expats that are here that have managed locals or that are working here for many years to come, Remus is here in the studio from R&R Partners Bucharest. Write in those questions. Probably instead of having the points that we want to talk about, would be much better to directly deal with questions coming in from the audience, right? So we are right on broadcast from your RAN Alive. You can write your questions on the live broadcast. If you want, you can also write in a question to me from my personal messenger page if you don't want your name to be mentioned. So you can use one of those two platforms. Don't forget that the broadcast will anyway stay online, so you can always look at the broadcast, write in your questions, and I will direct those questions to you, Remus, as and when they show up.
Okay.
Okay? So, Remus, you were saying, how can one lose a citizenship, right? Like, what the hell? How does one lose it?
Yeah, many people in nowadays want to acquire a citizenship,
Mm-hmm.
but in the past, for example, in 1960, if Romania actually sold many of their citizens who were of certain citizenships. For example, German citizenship, or even Israeli citizenship, were sold with money to their own countries, and
okay.
when they left the country with the proper paperwork of being sold,
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have their citizenship. They were just purely went out of the country, and their citizenship was kept. In nowadays, we have international regulations and all sorts of things that states are obliged to keep your citizenship, whatever happens. As a state, you are forbidden to retract a citizenship without the prior acceptance of another
I see.
citizenship from another state.
Okay. Yeah, go on. Go
But
on.
these citizens were taken from Romania, put on a plane, shipped, literally shipped,
Shipped.
because they were
There were no
they
planes
were
then.
sold. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
To other countries, and they gained that citizenship. We have many Israeli citizens who come to Romania and they have ancestors who lived here and they want their citizenship back.
Right.
And that's one of the main categories, the people who left in the 60s to 70s and their citizenship was retracted by the communist regime. Now, there's another type of category. For example, Romanian citizens who left after the 90s and wanted to go to Germany. If you want to go to Germany and to gain German citizenship, you cannot maintain your initial citizenship.
So there are countries that don't respect dual citizenship, I suppose.
Exactly.
So which is the country that forces you to lose your citizenship, Romania or Germany?
Germany.
So Germany, I see.
In Romania, you can have multiple citizenships.
Okay.
We have clients with 3 citizenships, or even we heard of 4 citizenships.
I see, I see.
But Romania accepts this. Germany, for example, does not accept this type of dual citizenship.
I see. Yeah, it's similar with India, if I'm not making a mistake. So yeah, because I have an OCI, an overseas citizen of India, I'm not allowed to have a passport, a normal Indian passport when I moved to Israel. So when I got my Israeli citizenship, I had to give up the Indian passport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
just for curiosity. So I see that people are already writing in. So do you want to tackle a question coming in from the audience? Okay. So we have Gareth that has written in a question for later. I suppose we'll take it in right now. I believe European citizens get a reduction by 50% in time required, so 4 years. However, I've not seen this everywhere. Is it possible? Also, do Brits still count as European from this perspective until the end of 2020?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Unfortunately, I do not know how the citizenship authority will see their situation for British citizens, but indeed, it's 50% of the time required for citizenship. If you have a European citizenship, so 4 years, that's correct. But certainly we do not have all the norms. What will happen for British citizens while they're out? From my perspective, the right way to treat it is that at the moment when you are submitting the file, you are a European citizen, and that would be the moment that your file should be judged. Therefore, I would see that that is a case of 4 years, and he could submit the paperwork now until December, and after December we will see how the procedure is. But however, you should keep in mind that even if you submit the paperwork, there are some tests that you must go through, and the procedure is quite not so simple as it may seem at first sight. It's not like submitting your file and you gain the Romanian citizenship.
I see, yeah. I understand there are a lot of exams, history, geography, Romanian language as well, knowing the national anthem.
Yeah.
So don't forget that. Get your Romanian brushing up, guys. Okay. You mentioned 4 years, so I wanted to, if you can just put it down in maybe in just a few points, because I know if you are working in Romania from abroad, out of Europe, it's 8 years. If you're married, it's 4 years. Do you know this by heart? Okay, that's fine. If you don't,
yes, I know them by heart.
So
that's why I came here.
No, it's okay.
At least I do
It's
my
fine.
homework.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Okay, good. So you need to live in Romania for 8 years and have continuous stay in Romania for those 8 years.
Okay.
An interruption in stay means that you left Romania for more than 6 months within a year. And you could apply when you get 8 years, but that means that you need more than half a year to stay in Romania in the previous 8 years. and submit the paperwork to the immigration office when you have the full 8 years.
Okay.
They do not need to be united according to the law, so you can have a gap. You can stay 4 years, move 1 year out, and then have another 4 years.
Okay.
But
Okay.
those 6 months within a year, more than 6 months within a year, must be in Romania. You cannot be employed and stay outside of Romania and say, oh, okay, but I was employed by a Romanian company. Or no, I was married with a Romanian citizen, but we stayed in England. Okay, then
It doesn't help.
it doesn't help.
Does the 8 years, are the 8 years valid for Europeans, or it's valid for people outside the European Union?
Non-EU citizens. That's the
Non-EU
standard.
citizens. So
Yes.
what if somebody is an EU citizen?
Then we apply the half of the time needed,
Okay, so
and
there we go.
that's 4 years.
Okay.
If you are married with a Romanian citizen, then you need to stay in Romania 5 years. So you get a reduction of only 3 years.
Aha. Okay. I have another 5 years to go, I think. I just got married again. So
Yeah, actually, your case is very interesting because when you go to the immigration office,
Yeah.
you'll see on the list of documents that they are asking for permanent residency. But if you look for the conditions of permanent residency, there are other conditions for permanent residency and other conditions for citizenship.
I see.
So you are one of those strange cases where I feel that you cannot apply for permanent residency, but you would qualify for citizenship.
Passport, baby, passport. Give me that passport. Okay, so I think we're gonna have a very nice conversation after the broadcast just to see how we can get that passport in my hands, right? Obviously, it's not going to be tomorrow. So, Gareth, I hope Remus has answered your question. If you have a different question, definitely put it in. If you think we have not been able to answer you, please reframe your question so we can see into what you had to ask. There's Sophia that is asking, is Romanian citizenship incompatible with any other citizenships? I think so. You already tackled that.
Yeah.
How many citizenships can a Romanian citizen have?
A Romanian citizen can have as many citizenship as he can get. I mean, usually if you go in a country and stay 8 years to gain citizenship, and it's a process of 1 year to 1 year and a half to gain citizenship, that's like investing 9-10 years to get one citizenship. So it depends how long your lifespan is, and also depends very much on the citizenship that you are willing to acquire. For example, if you are Romanian and you go to Germany, as stated earlier, you need to give up your Romanian citizenship in order to get the German citizenship. But if you go to the United States of America, you can be American and Romanian at the same time. We have clients.
Okay, so Sophia, I hope that is answering your question as well. Thank you for the question. As always, if you think it's not been answered, please reframe the question once again so that Remus can tackle it once more. We have someone called Bin Lin that has come in and is asking us, I heard that many people stuck in the process of applying Romanian citizen for 20 to 30 years. Some of them stuck in background check for something else and they weren't even able to attend the citizen exam. I also heard that Romanian government don't like to issue citizenships.
Not really. For this, you have consultants. For example, when someone comes to our office and says, okay, I want citizenship, we are not going the first time and applying for citizenship, because that's now how you do it. First, we look over the paperwork and tell him, you have a problem here, you have a problem here, you have a problem here. We are sorting all the problems, and when all the problems are sorted and from our point of view everything is correct, we are going to the authority and submitting the paperwork. If something is wrong, there are multiple ways of saying how it can be done correctly, but that depends from case to case, and each case has its own way of going through.
Okay, so as we were talking about from the event that we created, and there was the pointers that we were talking about. One of them was how to obtain this Romanian citizenship. So is there like a basic guideline, or it kind of varies from, I suppose, from person to person?
Depends on the way you want to gain your citizenship.
Conditions to fulfill to obtain the citizenship. So
Okay,
this is what I
so
was trying to understand.
yeah, conditions to so the conditions now, we have multiple articles. You have Article 8, 10, 10, 8, 11, and 10. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the main types of citizenship that you can acquire. You can acquire by staying in Romania those 8 years. For those, we have some clauses which can shorten the period if you are a EU citizen, if you are married to a Romanian citizen,
Right,
and
correct.
so
Okay.
on. If you make a big investment in Romania,
How big is that?
oh, I don't know if by heart that one.
1 million euros, I
Yeah,
think, no?
yeah, I believe
Oh my God.
you
That's
said
for the citizenship, if I'm not making a mistake.
Yeah.
Man. I'm close. I'm really close. Really close. I'm kidding. but-
Okay. You have to
Joking,
prove
right?
it also.
Yeah, of course. You can't just say that you have the money. You have to show the money.
You have
Right.
to invest it.
You have to invest it in the country. Properly said, Remus. Thank you. Go
Yes.
on.
And then we have the citizens who are regaining the citizenship, or who are taking back the citizenship they lost during the Great Wars. Because Romania, between the Great Wars, between the First and the Second World
Yeah.
War, it was bigger. So in that period, there were citizens that were born, for example, in the Republic of Moldova, or in Cernăuți, or in the Silistria area, or Banat area. So those citizens are also Romanian. After the war, the Second World War, they just drew a line and said, "Oh, Romania, it's smaller now." So we couldn't. There were sometimes there when everybody could move from one side to another, but your ancestors maybe stayed in that area that was no longer part of Romania.
I see.
Therefore, the law gives you the chance to go back and say, okay, that was my grandfather. He was born while Romania was big in that period, and I want my citizenship back because my grandfather was Romanian.
living. So this is the point that we were talking about. My grandparent was born in Moldova.
Yes.
Is that person entitled to get the Romanian citizenship, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So probably he would need to prove the location or the house, the street where the person was living during this time?
Not really.
Not really.
Because the birth certificate doesn't show you where somebody was born.
Okay.
That the exact location. They just give you the city. That me, Remus, I was born in Bucharest in the year and date. Okay? And now, when I was born, I had Remus Popovici, for example.
Okay.
But by time maybe I changed, maybe you are not asking for your grandfather, you're asking for your grandmother. And women usually take the husband's name.
Right.
And that's a very big problem. Because you have to go with birth certificate, you have to go with marriage certificate, and all the names have to match.
Right.
If the names do not match, then you have a problem.
Okay. So find out if that is applicable to you as well. Before I take up another question, which is very much similar to the question that we just took about. So if, let's say, your father somehow was a Romanian and he lost his citizenship, can the son get the citizenship? Or is there a condition of how the father lost? Does that matter, how he lost his citizenship?
Yes, it does matter.
Okay.
Because there are multiple articles, as I said. You can lose the citizenship with your will. For example, you give up your citizenship, or even when citizens leave Romania with during the communist regime.
Era, right.
I would apply rather through Article 10, which states that if you lost the citizenship by your will, you or your father or your grandfather, then you could apply through Article 10. But if he was born in big Romania and he never had a Romanian citizenship, you must apply through Article 11. And if you apply through Article 11, then you have not only your father who was a Romanian or your grandfather, you can also apply through your great grandfather. So up to 3 generations.
Is there any possibility where my grandfather, being a Romanian, or father, being Romanian, denied citizenship or said, like, I don't want my Romanian citizenship? can the son not be allowed to get his citizenship as a Romanian? Can it ever be possible?
If they never had a Romanian citizenship, no, only if they were born in Big Romania. So that
Okay.
period between the First and the Second World War.
Mm-hmm,
If he was, if your father, for example, spent 8 years in Romania, he was a permanent resident,
Mhm.
but never gained the Romanian citizenship, you cannot come now and say, oh, my father, stayed in Romania and I want to apply in his name, because the law does not work that way. The father needs to uh, acquire the Romanian citizenship at a certain point, then lose it, so you can reapply based on a right he lost. Okay.
On the right that he lost the citizenship. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Sophia here is writing again. Which are some of the other countries which make you give up Romanian citizenships? So one was Germany,
India, you said,
India.
and sincerely, I do not know.
Okay, so Sophia, if you do have any country that you want to go to and try not to give up the Romanian citizenship, definitely write in that country and probably Remus will get back to you with an answer for that. What do you say?
Yeah, I can
Lovely.
reply, but usually you can find it online. And for this, we know some general examples,
Mm-hmm.
but usually you should ask in that country where you want to apply for citizenship, and somebody who knows the law there
Of course.
gives you much more informed
Information. Yeah,
answers.
he will basically just tell you, you want the German citizenship, you will say yes, and then he will say you have to give up your Romanian citizenship, and that's about it.
Yeah, and the laws change.
As simple as that, I suppose. But sorry, go on, please.
The laws changed in time. So I know what we studied in law school, but probably now Germans change their way of citizenship and now
Mhm.
allows dual citizenships. I cannot know at this point in time what every country does.
Of course,
you,
of course.
you need to go at a specialized immigration lawyer or consultant there, and he will give you the right answers.
What if they want to come to you? Could you give them the answer for
Usually-
a small fee?
Usually we avoid telling what happens in another country because
Uh-huh.
we are not
Experts in that
properly
country.
trained. So it's just like you would give me money for nothing because I'm not gonna give you something certain.
I see. So,
So-
what you're trying to say is aim at the lawyer from that country itself, or
Yes.
for an advocate from that country. Okay, that's very nice advice, Remus. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I have Aman coming in. Before I take Aman's questions, just that you guys know, thank you for joining in on the 127th broadcast today with Remus Popovici, who is an entrepreneur, business consultant, as well as co-founder of R&R Partners Bucharest, helping me out with today's topic, Romanian citizenship, how to obtain it, how to regain it. So if you have a question, come to the broadcast and write into the comments. The broadcast will stay even after the live, so don't worry if you want to write a question later on. So Aman, I'm taking up your question right now. I'm not an EU, married with Romanian.
Mhm.
Can I apply citizenship after 5 years or more? Because as I know, first I need to apply permanent card, so I suppose he's saying that he needs to apply for permanent residency.
Mhm.
How long does it take for all the process?
Indeed. So when you go for citizenship, usually the citizenship authority requires for long-term residency.
Mm-hmm.
But there are cases when you can apply for citizenship and you do not qualify for long-term residency. For example, Ioran.
Oh, hey! Woohoo! Let's hope so. Okay, okay. And why is that I don't apply, I don't fit in this? Why is that I can right now, apply directly for
Because
citizenship?
for citizenship, they ask you for a continuous stay in Romania for 8 years. And
Mm-hmm.
the law also says that if you skipped half a year in the past, then you cannot take into consideration that year. So there are people who spent 4 years here,
Mm-hmm.
left 1 year, and they spent another 2 years, for example.
Okay.
They went for a medical emergency
Mhm.
outside of Romania, or they just went outside. So you can apply,
Mm-hmm.
but they will ask you, oh, okay, why don't you have the permanent residency? If you qualify for the permanent residency, you should get it before you apply for the citizenship.
Citizenship. Mm-hmm.
But if you do not qualify, there is a letter from the immigration office which will state how long you stayed in Romania within a year and in which years.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have access to the immigration to the border police database, and they know when you get in,
When you leave and enter
Yeah.
the country, right? Absolutely.
So that letter will have a year gap, and you have to write some notes which state, okay, I've been out that year because so and so,
Mhm.
but look, I have the full 8 years, and I cannot apply for permanent residency because I'm missing that year.
Okay. So if I would really if I really stand a chance, then I can come to you, and we can work the paperwork out together, right?
Yes, but also from what we had until now, usually the decision is up to the citizenship authority.
Mm-hmm.
There are judges who are appointed there, but we saw in the past that there are some decisions that do not make sense. For example, you can take my advice and apply, and they would say no, I do not give you the citizenship. I want the
Mhm.
permanent residency first, which is not a requirement if you look closely to the law.
I see.
But then you'd have to go in front of a court, and the judge will rule on that for you.
I see.
And usually the judges are much more favorable if you strictly apply and fulfill all the conditions based on the law.
Mm-hmm.
So there are cases when they deny, but if you know that you are right and the law does not specify that you need the permanent residency, then you can apply. But as a practice, you need a permanent residency, and if you can apply for permanent residency, first apply for permanent residency. It usually takes 3 to 6 months for the card to be issued and to get the card,
Mhm.
and the citizenship process takes roughly 1 year.
Okay. That is with all the exams, or that is just the first step of the citizenship that takes 1 year after the application?
No,
the total process.
The total process. 1 year, one year
Okay.
and a half depends.
Okay.
For example, with the coronavirus, they skipped all the interviews. They
Yeah,
resent
that's true.
the invitations to get
Mhm.
the interview.
Mhm.
The procedure is quite slower now, and so on.
Okay. Okay. So Aman is asking, does he need to speak Romanian for permanent residency?
We're going from citizenship to permanent residency. I like it.
So he's basically wanting to go to residence. He wants to go to permanent citizenship. So I think his first step before is permanent
Permanent
residence. So this is what he wanted to ask. If you
Indeed,
can.
you need to speak Romanian. From my perspective,
Right.
good to very good.
Okay.
We've been recently with a client who, from my perspective, understood Romanian. He spoke Romanian at a conversational level,
Mm-hmm.
but from their perspective was not satisfactory. So when you go for permanent residency, the usual questions are who you are, where are you from, what are your parents, what are you doing, where are you working.
Mm-hmm. Very basic questions, I suppose. Yeah.
Basic questions: what are your hobbies?
Uh-huh.
Speak about yourself. What are you doing here? Why do you want a permanent residency, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
the questions are not asked like in formal Romanian. For example, they not one of the question was de unde vii, instead, so it's not din ce țară vii.
Uh-huh.
So
From where do you come? Right.
Yeah,
It's a very
so-
informal kind of.
yeah, and you need to know this stuff, and you need to learn Romanian at least to understand these parts, which from a Romanian point of view they
Mhm.
are quite easy, but when you speak to someone is not formal Romanian. For example, they change societate
Mm-hmm.
cu firmă.
Uh-huh.
Me as a Romanian, I know what a firmă is, but it's more like a colloquial Romanian than a formal Romanian.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, you should know Romanian pretty well from my
Mhm.
perspective,
All right.
and speak it fluently. And from the ones that I took, from the clients that we went through, we had
Mhm.
clients that after 5 years they were speaking so good Romanian that I could have a very good chat about all their life, and they were brilliant. But
Okay.
it depends from case to case.
Yeah. So Aman, you need to speak Romanian. Okay. You need to learn the language to start with. Yeah. So Yeah, I hope that's Remus has answered your question. If you do want, do reframe, write another question, a little more specific, and let's see how we can tackle that. But thanks for asking in. Niall is asking us, Remus, how much long in years I need to stay married to a Romanian partner, and after divorce, and after divorce, and the government, would keep the permanent of residency with me. So I believe he's trying to ask, how long does he need to be married in order to get permanent residency?
It's 5 years. So if you are married, 5 years. If you're not married, permanent residency, 5 years. No exceptions, no nothing.
Okay, so let's say he is married, he stayed for 5 years, he got a permanent residency, and he got divorced.
Congratulations, you are staying in Romania and getting hired. You don't need your wife anymore.
Okay, so that is a straightforward answer, I think, Niall. I think that answers your question. But if you do have an unanswered part, definitely reframe the question and write it into us. So I'm here with Remus Popovici. On today's broadcast, we're talking about Romanian citizenship. If you have a question, a query regarding this topic, feel free to join in from my page, You Ran Alive, and write the question down into the comments. Let's have a look. Does one need a permanent residency, as we spoke about, to apply for citizenship? So it depends, as you said.
It depends on how I said, but if you qualify for permanent residency, go for permanent residency and take it. If you have a strong case why you left Romania a year, you can you can write down why you left Romania and what happens. And if you were married in the past and now you're divorced, I would go for citizenship after you get the full 8 years if you have the permanent residency, because they ask for the marriage certificate and details about the marriage when you submit the file.
I see. So it's difficult to get a citizenship if you are divorced.
Yeah, you'd go through I would recommend to go through the 8-year process rather than
the 5
years.
Of course.
But if you want to give it a shot with the 5 years, you can submit the paperwork. And one more thing that where I see that my clients lack in paperwork, be aware of your birth certificate. So if you go through Article 8, you need to bring your birth certificate when you submit the paperwork.
Okay.
So if you were born, for example, in Nigeria does not have apostille.
That is the Haga Convention, I believe
Yes.
you're talking about, from the 1962, 1969.
I don't know the exact
The Haga
date.
Convention. Sorry. Okay. We don't need to remember this, just that it's in my mind because I recently got married and from India. We needed the apostille.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand. But go ahead. So
if
Nigeria doesn't have that.
doesn't have that, so you need to go through legalization according to the international law. That means that your birth certificate has to be stamped by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Nigeria. It has to go either to the Embassy of Romania in Nigeria, if any, or the Nigerian Embassy in Romania, if any. Usually you can have, for example, a country, for example, Romania, I believe, doesn't have embassy in Nigeria, but it has in Nairobi.
So
Kenya.
the country close by.
Yeah, and there is 2 countries for one embassy, which is in another country, and you have to go with the paperwork to that country, and it's a logistical nightmare on this part.
I see.
So you need the civil status documents, legalized or apostille, depending on your case. We actually have a YouTube channel now. I don't know if you know.
I think I do, yes, and I've seen some of the videos coming up, which is fantastic initiative, so keep doing that, Remus.
Yeah, and I go there into detail on how you need to legalize or apostille a document in order to make it, in order for the Romanian state to recognize that document. So you can look on that on the YouTube video. I think it's gonna be out in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, and what is the name of your YouTube channel?
R&R Partners Bucharest.
Okay.
It's the company's name. So
as simple as that. R&R Partners Bucharest.
yeah.
So just look it up, and it'll direct you to the videos that they're coming up. I think they're very nice concise size videos with the necessary information. So it's not any long videos just doing talk. They're talking to the point regarding the subject that they're talking about, because I have seen the videos. So if anybody has a question regarding this video, that is going to be coming up definitely right into the broadcast. Remus is also tagged in, and he will write in or send in the link, or I will put in the link once those videos are out. Okay, so let us know or send me a message as well. Okay, Niall has come in and saying, what if I'm married together just 2 years and we got divorced? Would they keep permanent residency with me? I don't think he can even apply for permanent residency in just 2 years of marriage.
Yeah, you do not have, you have short-term residency permit. It's valid for 5 years, but that is not long-term residency permit.
Mm-hmm.
You need to apply after 5 years for permanent residency, and if you have the short-term residency permit, it will be valid for another 6 months, and then you either get a job or either you go back to your home country, and that's about it.
Okay, so you're talking about what happens after if you
Yeah.
divorce before. Yeah. So the thing is, when I just got married in January, so they gave me a temporary residency. Niall, if you're listening in, a temporary residency for 1 year. And from my previous experience, because it's my second marriage, after the first year, I got a temporary residency permit for 5 years. Now, I believe after this, I could apply for permanent residency, right?
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Okay. There's another question coming. Should I? Oh, you want to
Please.
say something? Okay, so here's Maria that is replying to Niall, who is saying, what the hell? Of course, you're not going to have any permit. They're going to kick you out after the divorce day where you are. They already figured out your intentions. Okay, Maria, thanks for writing in. Keep it calm and easy with the replies. We are trying to just understand one another. Probably let's have that patience and tolerance while we are writing in our comments. Okay, so before I just...
Not really. I disagree with Maria.
Okay, so Maria, you have a reply here.
Yeah, so if you have a child from the marriage, you can stay in Romania based on supporting that child if you prove that you provide for the child. So
Mhm.
through the divorce sentence, the judge will force you to pay a certain alimony for the child, and if you provide prove the existence of the alimony from the sentencing,
Mhm.
plus the fact that you are actually paying month the alimony, then you would get a permanent residency based on your child, not on your spouse.
Okay, so that is a good way. Do you know approximately how much money that could be? Or that depends, like alimony
It
that he needs
depends
to...
on your income. The bigger the income,
The bigger the alimony.
money.
Okay,
course.
lovely. Of course. So Niall, I'm hoping that Remus has tackled that question pretty well, and for Maria as well, just in case you both had this question coming up. So I have a very distinctive question over here, Remus. I kind of understood from the residency part. Now, let's say that I have my temporary residency for a year, right?
Okay.
So I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, even before I get permanent residency, after my first year of residency, I can invite my parents to live in Romania.
You can invite them whenever you want, but you have to prove that you have the means to support them.
Mhm.
Also, if you are married to a Romanian citizen, for example,
Right.
You have an exception for the means of living. You can invite them strictly through the embassy, and they come through a visa for family reunification,
Right.
and they'll get a family reunification permit. But be aware, there are two types of permits. You have family reunification with EU citizens and with non-EU citizens.
So it will
So-
be non-EU for me.
We have a case that's ongoing. I think we are going to submit this. We were supposed to submit this summer, but with the coronavirus and
Yeah,
everything, I
yeah,
think it's gonna
mhm.
be postponed.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they are going through a family reunification based on your marriage, and actually they're gonna reunificate your parents with your wife, and they're gonna give them right to work, because usually if you are a non-EU citizen coming to Romania to work here and you want family reunification with your parents or with your children that which are minors,
Mm-hmm.
they will get a family reunification visa without the right to work. So that means that they are coming here and they are just staying here. But however, there is a certain gray area. For example, you can come and stay here, and you can incorporate a company, and you
Okay.
can work through that company,
Okay.
because that's not a labor agreement,
Mm-hmm.
but you can work as a director. So it's a shady area. I usually don't go there, but
Okay.
you can go there.
Okay, so maybe if needed, I will go to Remus when things may go that way. Fantastic. So, Remus, we are talking about citizenship, so we are coming back to that. Let's say it's the time for the interview. What happens then? If you can give us light about during the interview, you want to tell us what is the procedure, what needs to be done, what one needs to prepare for.
Okay, so first you submit the file with the documentation for the citizenship. A clerk usually goes through the file, sees that you have all the documents required. If you do not have one document, they will send you back, because why not? After you submitted the whole documentation, it will be reviewed and you will get an invitation for the interview. Now it's very tricky because they call it interview. You are supposed to go there and have a chat with somebody, right?
Right, I believe so.
Not really.
No.
It's written and oral test. It's
Uh-huh.
you are filmed and the audio is registered.
I see.
So everything is done, and the best part is that if you go on the citizenship website where you have a consultant, there's a list of questions, all the questions that you can get through in that interview, which is actually a test, written and oral test.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Okay.
You will know all the answers prior. You just have to learn them. There are something like 500 or 400 questions.
Ah, that's all. Okay, cool. So if I learn them, that should be good,
Yeah,
right?
it's just the geography, history, constitution, and you also need to know the anthem, and yeah, and general knowledge. Of
Yeah,
course.
come on. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that difficult, don't
What's
you
the
think?
name of the horse of Ștefan cel Mare?
What's the name of the horse?
Of Ștefan cel Mare.
Stallion Black. I have no idea. Wow, what
You'll
is
learn
that?
that.
Okay, so do remember that is a lot of studying that needs to be done. If you think that school days were over, well, guess what? If you need the citizenship, you got to learn your Romanian history and geography. What else includes into interview? How much time does this take? It's a one-day thing, oral and written, or?
Yeah, you get one invitation. Everything is done in one day, so you'll take one day off.
Mm-hmm.
Depends from case to case. Usually they get delayed. You can go in and you can go out. Depends on how well you go. I mean, if they give you a set of questions and you finish them in 10 minutes, then bravo to you. But
Right.
if you finish them in, usually I believe you have a 1 hour time frame, but these are internal policies and may change, so it's irrelevant
I
what I
see.
say now,
Mm-hmm.
because now it can be one way, then it can go another way. So
I see. What if somebody fails the interview?
good luck, resubmit.
And after how long can he resubmit?
I believe it's 6 months or 1 year, but usually the whole procedure goes to 6 months, so you don't have to wait so much.
I see. And is there an incurring cost per interview?
Oh no, the procedure, the citizenship authority has no tax,
Okay.
but you need the translator, you need a notary to give some statements, you need documents from the state of origin, you need for example, the criminal record, which has to be
Kazier? The
yeah,
Kazier? I see.
Kazier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are some costs that you'll incur at each submission.
So you will anyway be paying, but for getting the citizenship itself,
Yeah,
the government is free. Oh, it's not charging. So that's okay. Okay. Fantastic. I have a question that has come here. Is it possible to marry a Polish citizen in Romania? And this is asked by Rohit Singh. I think Rohit is Indian, so just asking.
Now, if we go to marriage, there are certain rules that you have to respect. For example, one, you have to be legally staying in Romania. Two, you need a certificate of celibacy from the state of origin. And third, you need the citizen that you are married has to have a residency in Romania. So you can come, if you come on a tourist visa and the Polish citizen comes on a tourist visa and you meet in Romania and you go to the city hall, they will not marry you. But there are ways to go around this. I mean, the Polish citizen can get a residency permit, which is much more easier. And then he says that, oh, I'm living in Romania. Guess what? So you're getting married in Romania.
Okay, so Rohit, I hope that answers your question to the curiosity. If there is something that you would like to ask, again, definitely write it in and put it out there. If I get married to a Romanian citizen, what is the step to make the marriage recognized here? So I don't know if this is relevant to today's conversation, but Remus, I will leave that up to you if you want to take it up. Or Joanne,
I can take it up.
Joanne, just that you know, you can obviously, you can definitely reach out to Remus at a later time after the broadcast, and I'm sure he will help you out as well over there. So Remus, I will leave it up to you if you want to take up the question.
Of course I do.
Okay.
So the easiest way is to go to the embassy of the state where you got married. But for example, we had citizens who got married in 2004, for example, and then moved to another country. They got married in Gibraltar.
Where is that?
South of Spain.
Oh, okay.
It's the crossing.
The island? Are they the islands or what?
It's just something like a rock, but it's on the mainland, and it's owned by UK.
Oh, okay.
And there are no embassies there, but however, they wanted to get married in Gibraltar.
Talking about geography, I'm gonna fail in the Romanian exam. But anyway, go on.
Good. So our clients got married in Gibraltar.
Okay.
They were living in Spain. They moved from Spain to Denmark, and now they want to get their marriage recognized. You can only get it recognized in Romania or in the state where you got married. And first you have to get recognized the marriage, and then you can get recognized the children.
I see.
So we acted as proxies. They sent powers of attorney to us. We send them some statements which are personally tailored to each and everybody's needs. They send them to Romania. We make the super legalization procedure where we make the translations.
Right.
And then we go to the city hall and get the marriage recognized. But the marriage can get recognized only at the city hall of the Romanian citizen, not at any city hall. So if somebody is of the Romanian citizen is from Satu Mare, we don't go to Satu Mare to get it recognized. We either get a lawyer who is based there and we put him on the power of attorney, or we make a transmissible power of attorney, and so on. Yeah, we find solutions to each and every case, and you can get marriage recognized in Romania. But the procedure is quite hard and depends on your certain case. The easiest way is to go with the Romanian citizen at the embassy in the state where you got married,
Yep.
and the embassy will give you a marriage certificate, and it's cheaper, faster, easier.
Okay, Joanna, your choice. But here we have Remus giving you the answer. If you want to reach out to him later, definitely do that. But thank you so much, and thank you for the question as well. Karim is saying, with Romanian permanent residency, can I work in other European countries like Italy or France?
No.
So simple as that. No. All right.
You can travel without a visa. For example, if you need a visa to go to Italy or France or the Schengen area, you can just go with the permanent residency for 90 days within 180 days.
Okay.
So you do not need a visa. That's the only benefit that it gives you.
All right. So before we wrap up, there was the last question that I wanted to ask. After one gains a Romanian citizenship, then what?
You're a Romanian citizen.
You're a Romanian citizen, so...
No.
There's
No.
something more to this. Okay, let's hear this. I thought that was it. I'm like, whew, the nightmare is over. But guess
No.
what? Okay, no, let's
First,
listen to this.
you'll have to go to get your birth certificate. Usually, that is done at the city hall of the city hall where you have the residency.
Okay.
Or if you didn't have residency and you apply for regaining citizenship or something like that, you'll go at the city hall of the first district of Bucharest, and that's the only. And it's very crowded and you have very long queues and so on.
So I need to get my birth certificate from the city hall
Romania.
in. What?
In Romania, it's transcription. It's called. We Romanian like to make counter copies of foreign documents, so it's not simple as I recognize you and I give you a naturalization certificate. I also give you a Romanian birth certificate, and you have to get that. For example,
I
in
see.
the US, they don't transcribe documents; they only give you the naturalization certificate, and that's all you get.
Okay, I was not aware of. Okay, so they
Oh.
actually give you a birth certificate from the Romanian ministry, basically.
Yes, and that has your CMP.
Uh-huh.
And after you get your birth certificate, you get your Romanian ID if you want to establish in Romania. And if you want to
Okay.
leave Romania as a Romanian citizen, you will also get a Romanian passport. So usually after you get the certificate of naturalization,
Naturalization, yep.
yeah, the it's citizenship certificate more in Romania, but US standard is naturalization.
Okay.
You have to spend an additional 3 to 6 months to get all your paperwork in order.
So when you say I got citizenship, it means you just have a paper.
Yeah,
Now you have to get first your birth certificate,
yeah,
then you have to get your passport,
yeah.
and then you have to get your CNP. I mean, you have to get the ID.
The CNP, it's with the birth certificate.
It's with the birth certificate,
Yeah.
but that card, the ID,
Yeah,
is also something that you need to get, which is a different procedure.
Yeah.
You don't get it naturally.
no.
It's not over, guys, okay? So definitely I would suggest to take up questions and take up your queries with Mr. Remus and Ruxandra from R&R Partners. Remus, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Are there any final tips that you would like to give our listeners and viewers for today's broadcast on today's topic?
Oh, we've been through so much. I mean, it's just the tip of the iceberg. There are things with the documentation. There are things that you need to know, and usually my advice for anyone who goes through the procedure: get somebody who knows the procedure or went at least once. Even if they're not a Romanian consultant that you pay, you can just ask tips, because there are so many things that are not written, and you need to be aware about them, because if you're not aware about them, you can end up with a submission that is rejected,
Right.
or you can end up having the right and not exercising it.
Okay. So, guys, once again, I will suggest, if you'll have any other questions coming in, definitely do write in the questions directly to the broadcast. Even though we won't be live in a couple of minutes, definitely let those questions keep flowing into the broadcast. I will see that Remus gets directed to those questions. And of course, before you start your business journey with Mr. Remus Popovici, don't forget to send a friend request. Friends before business, I think, really helps go a long way. What do you say, Remus?
Of course.
Fantastic. So on that happy note, I would like to thank Remus. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you
It was
for inviting
really
me.
nice, and with all the fantastic questions, taking the questions from the audience and helping us ease our mind with the kind of procedure that might be happening with the citizenship. So guys, wishing us all a very good evening. Bună seara, Erev Tov, and good evening. And I'll see you again on another live very soon. Till then, take care. Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Bye.